At Trent Bridge. Welcome to the highlights, and conditions at the start of the day very, very good. A little bit of grey sky, but some blue as well and a touch of sun, and a forecast that looked very reassuring. Well, the pitch had a rather brownish look about it. It looked as though it might be very good for batting. Mike Gatting won the toss and decided England would bat. These are the teams nominated by the two skippers just before the toss. England left out Greg Thomas and Eddie Hemmings, only going in with one spinner, John Embury. And the West Indies have a full battery of pace bowlers, Marshall, Ambrose, Walsh and Patterson, able to take advantage of any life there may be in the pitch at the start. We join play in the second over. Patrick Patterson is the bowler. He's coming in to bowl to Graham Gooch, and 10 runs are on the board for England without loss.
Oh, well bowled there. 2 runs for Gooch, but streaky ones.
You see the advantage of those big heavy bats. Gooch already had 2 off the inside edge from Marshall and 2 there off the outside edge from Patterson.
Malcolm Marshall. Oh, and that one swung after it pitched to a tremendous degree.
Oh, just thinking the ball had not swung at all, and then Malcolm Marshall bowled one like that you could really see go, but it was going really after it pitched. So that would have been a good delivery, just that little bit straighter.
I think it struck an air pocket. Not off the middle, but they all count. And the rain just slowing things down sufficiently, no boundary. Good return from young Ambrose, 3 to Gooch. Malcolm Marshall to Graham Gooch.
Swinging ball and the outside edge, where you're not sure if it's going to carry to the slip fielders or to the boundary. First ball of the morning for Graham Gooch, and that'll be a relief. A lot of tension out there this morning.
Yeah, it's just a semi-edge, a thick edge again, but keeping it down reasonably well, showing how slow the wicket and the outfield probably are.
And one of the greatest bowlers the world has ever seen is not in the West Indies team, but is still playing county cricket, Michael Holding. Taken 249 test wickets when he retired, and one of the most magnificently beautiful bowlers you would ever see. 29 for no wicket here. 16 Gooch, 10 Broad.
They're averaging about 12 overs an hour, which would mean a little bit of overtime.
It's beautifully timed by Gooch. The best shot of the morning.
Lovely shot this by Graham Gooch. He's edging forward to start with, just rocks back and has all the time in the world to push that off his hip. He timed it beautifully.
That's around about the length for Patrick Patterson. He's been, if anything, just a little too short this morning. Does get the ball up quite sharply, but to bring the batsman forward is the aim in these early overs.
Just like that, as Richie was saying. Keeping that ball up, and a little bit of good fortune there for Graham Gooch. Not really getting across to it, but once again, a slight lack of pace. You'll see him moving forward, not really getting right to the pitch of the ball, and that fairly thickish outside edge going wide of third slip.
And the crowd here at Trent Bridge now are to see the first bowling change of the morning. Curtly Ambrose has been brought on to replace Malcolm Marshall. 37 for no wicket.
He left that
big
a bit
shout.
close.
Yes, just a misjudgment of line there. The impression, Curtly Ambrose, is that he's slanting the ball across the left-hander. You see how wide he bowls on the crease. But in fact, that ball pitched and straightened. In the gap. Time and again, England have managed these thick edges, both Broad and Gooch, perhaps more so Gooch, and they found that gap past third slip, between third slip and gully, and then the outfielder's been fast enough to take it away for 4.
Yes, and once again, nothing really bouncing on this pitch. They're bowling the right length, but there's not quite enough life in it.
That's a good shot. Confident move onto the front foot by Gooch. No great courage in the follow-through, but very effective prod for 2 runs, which completes the half-century partnership between Gooch and Broad. 51 for no wicket, and the overall feeling of calm, which of course every team wants to enjoy at the start of a test match. So it's the second change. Courtney Walsh comes into the attack. One of Broad's strong points, that. It's brought him 2 runs this time, but so often county bowlers will attest that if you bowl on leg stump at anything above medium pace, then Chris Broad likes that very much. Whoops. Well, that's the first sign of hostility. Very well bowled by Courtney Walsh. And for once, Chris Broad having to drop the gloves, drop the bat, and get underneath the bounce, as we say. Oh, beautiful shot. Just cheered the ring of the bat then. But I'm sure the West Indies did too. No need to run. Splendid 4 by Graham Gooch.
Well, this is the bread and butter shot to Gooch, just swinging in onto that leg stump. That's the place he likes them, and he dispatched that beautifully through mid-wicket. Perfectly timed, and even on this slow outfield, no need to run.
And Carl Hooper to produce the first spin of the day. Well, no messing with that one by Gooch.
Nice, juicy little full toss. And Graham Gooch not making any mistakes with that.
Double bowling change with Courtney Walsh switching ends. Just the single. There looked to be 2 there, but with that man, he has an arm that's among the best in the West Indies side, and quite rightly Gooch was just settled for the 1.
3 more were added up to lunch in the 2.5 overs bowled to take the score along to 80 for naught, and England can be well satisfied with that. Gooch 45 and Broad 28. I thought the bowlers bowled far too short this morning. Marshall perhaps the exception. 5 overs from him, and they were very good ones. But Patterson and Ambrose and Walsh, I thought, were too short on that pitch. Perhaps they'll keep the ball up to the bat a little more after lunch. We pick it up now in the 4th over after the interval. 4 runs have been added. Here's Curtly Ambrose, and taking strike is Graham Gooch. Ambrose might have been searching for the Yorker there and didn't quite get it up far enough. Lovely stroke. And a half-century to Graham Gooch. Wicket form of the day. And there's the 100 for England. Gus Logie, the tumbling fielder. Up from 203 balls, the second 50 from 110.
And it's been a very good performance from these two batsmen.
Marshall to Gooch. And that's, dropped, and down goes the first chance to hand in this whole innings. Gordon Greenidge.
And a really quick delivery this from Malcolm Marshall, leaving Graham Gooch, who's not really over behind it, and straight forward to Gordon Greenidge. And he fends it up, and he's looking up in the air for it, actually. But it's gone down.
Yes, it just might have come wide of the side screens and out of the members' background. And then another great delivery from Marshall, and suddenly he's moved up a gear, and, well, we're back on familiar territory, Tom.
Yes, this is always the thing that's likely to happen with a man like Malcolm Marshall. Absolutely tremendous stuff on this very slow, gentle pitch.
Played on, but bowled him. And that was a lovely example of variation by Malcolm Marshall, deciding to float that one at some speed, of course, well up to Graham Gooch. Fancied the full length cover drive inside edge off stump.
And it really has been a superb piece of bowling, this, by Malcolm Marshall. That's swinging in a little. Graham Gooch driving that through mid-off, a little inside edge, and knocking the leg stump back. And that's a wicket that has been well earned by Marshall. He's bowled absolutely superbly.
So Graham Gooch has played a very strong part in this opening stand of 125 between he and Chris Broad, 73 to Graham Gooch. But he will be the first to concede that he's been in trouble for Malcolm Marshall since lunch. But I think his captain, Mike Gatting, now appearing, will be most pleased with him.
You can see this this ball just drifting in a little in the air. Gooch getting his front foot well out, but not quite across. Little inside edge, and back goes the leg stump.
Patrick Patterson to bowl to Chris Broad. Oh, no ball called. And Chris Broad looked like going in exactly the same fashion as Graham Gooch had gone before him, playing the ball onto the stumps. Thick inside edge onto the stumps. A great cheer went up, and then suddenly also did Mr. Bird's right hand.
It's out. What a reward for Malcolm Marshall. He's put in by far the best spell of the day. There goes Mike Gatting shaking his head in a disappointed man. Things sailing along smoothly for England, and suddenly Gooch's wicket followed by that of Gatting. Caught there by Logie. Just for 5 runs. So England suddenly, the innings back in the balance. Good catch. Even more credit to Malcolm Marshall. He spearheaded this West Indies attack. He looked ordinary before lunch, but my word, since he's now bowled 10 overs and taken out those 2 good English wickets. Those are his overall figures this spell. 10 overs, 2 for 26. New England batsman David Gower. What a test for him. Back after a complete winter off. No serious appeal, the bowler not particularly interested.
Difficult for a right-hander quick ball to get LBW. the ball's got to really go back in off the seam to the left-hander, and that didn't do that. So therefore, if it's on a length, it's probably got to pitch outside the leg stump. I don't think the bowler really had a good shout for it. Malcolm Marshall bowled a long spell since lunch, but I think Viv Richards will be tempted to give him just one or two more if David Gower's at the striker's end.
Well, that could have gone anywhere, but just for a run that brings Chris Broad his 50. He's had his luck, but he's battled it out, and the home crowd giving him a deserved round of applause. Marshall just adjusting his field with Richards, moving one or two people a little wider on the offside to accommodate David Gower's strengths. Two slips and a very wide, deep gully. That is the area that Malcolm Marshall will be trying to exploit. Jackie Birkinshaw just having yet another word with Marshall. This is now getting into, well, an issue of fairly serious dimensions, and up comes Viv Richards to join in.
Yes, in fact, as soon as Marshall followed through there, Jackie Birkinshaw called Viv Richards up. You can see he's going straight down the pitch, really. And that can't be allowed to happen. I think Jackie Birkinshaw is telling the captain that, and if he does it again, he can be stopped from bowling.
Patterson now to Gower. Nicely flicked away. Lovely timing. Dragged it on, and there is the result of Malcolm Marshall's persistence. The result of him going round the wicket to dart it in back at Chris Broad, and there is a very disappointed Broad, who, as Tom said, probably approached that over after he thought there'd be no more, in perhaps not quite the best frame of mind.
Yes, and Chris Broad will be very disappointed there. That ball not really getting up. You can see it's fairly much wide of the off stump, no real need to play it, and driving that through extra cover, getting a bottom corner on it and pulling it into his off stump.
William got away to a great start. It's been a marvellous fight back by West Indies, led by Marshall and astutely captained by Viv Richards. Marshall just finishing his incomplete over. Holding to Alan Lamb. And nothing given for that. Marshall had a very quick look around to umpire Jack Birkinshaw on the basis that Alan Lamb, the new batsman, didn't play a stroke.
I think that's probably right, but there are many occasions when that would have been a signal to four. It'd be amazing to see somebody giving out LBW playing the same sort of stroke. That happens probably 1,000 times a season.
And LBW, the big swinger coming in from outside the off stump. And just a question of how much it was swinging and which stump it would have hit. Probably just the leg stump.
I did say early on this morning that England's middle order weren't in that good a form, and so it's proving at the moment. But Marshall's thoroughly deserved the wickets he's taken. He's bowled well, had a very long spell, and he's beaten all the batsmen who've played. So well bowled, Malcolm Marshall. See it again here, swinging into Alan Lamb, pitching round about the off Letting Lamb about halfway up that front leg.
Courtney Walsh bowling to Derek Pringle.
Very, very close indeed there, just going out of the seam. Bouncing too much, in fact, bouncing twice before it got through to the wicketkeeper Dujan, but very close to that off stump.
Almost the third one to play on.
Well, again, Derek Pringle playing with the bat at almost 45 degrees, and the ball not bouncing again, catching the bottom edge.
Very good shot. I think Pringle had to wait on it in the end. It rather dug into the pitch. It wasn't one where he smashed it down into the ground in front of square. Had to wait and then hit it in the air.
Yes, I think that showed the pace of the pitch. It only really got about waist high, and hit that just behind square, but if there'd been any pace in the pitch at all, it would have gone fine.
The bat.
It's only an impression I had. Wasn't absolutely certain that Gower slid his bat. He might just be on the wrong foot. There's another look at that run out. It was beautifully fielded by Carl Hooper. Well, yes, the bat didn't slide at all.
Malcolm Marshall continuing from this pavilion end, where he's bowled since lunchtime. Coming into Derek Pringle. Ball still moving a little bit in the air.
Yes, it's like Edgbaston and Headingley in particular. Overhead conditions dictate really a lot of the movement. This is the 64th over of the innings, and England going along at nearly 3 and over. 26 more to bowl after this, and only 75 minutes of scheduled play, so clearly we're in for at least another 30 minutes. Ah, lovely take there from Dujan. Read it well.
And the in-swinger drifting down the leg side, and a marvellous take this by Dujan. See the way he turned his gloves, pounced on it like a cat.
Kirtley Ambrose replacing Malcolm Marshall, bowling to David Gower. Oh, chance. West Indies catching has let them down because Gower's most vulnerable area there.
And this the usual problem with David Gower, that slanted across him, whipping that wide of mid-on in fact, and Gordon Greenwich at second slip just getting a left hand to it.
Courtney Walsh bowling to David Gower. Good shout, ball straightening back onto him.
Yes, a useful looking delivery this from Courtney Walsh. Pitching and coming back into him.
That's out. Kirtley Ambrose getting the wicket that he's deserved. Had Gower dropped the over before, and they're flashing and caught at the wicket.
Short, wide, and he doesn't really get across to it. And, this tiny little nick.
Well, and David Gower came in at a difficult time after the fall of a couple of quick wickets. 56 deliveries, so he's had to take his time under conditions which certainly got no easier. New batsman Paul Downton. This is just the sort of situation which the selectors had in mind when they preferred him over other wicketkeepers.
But in the end, you aren't too proud. Doesn't matter how they come. Except to Curtly Ambrose. 200 is up. Now, I'm not sure if Derek Pringle saw that. And that would be a bit of a cue to the umpires at this late hour, 6:15, 84th over, that the light is not all that.
Yes, Pringle looking as though he didn't quite know what to do there.
The 88th over, last over of first day's play. Carl Hooper, the bowler. Derek Pringle is on 35 not out. Well struck. Doesn't matter what time of day or almost night it is. Half volley is a half volley, and that was quickly recognised by Derek Pringle.
Well struck by Derek Pringle this. He flicks at it. That loop wasn't really a half volley. He did hit it hard.
And that was part of an excellent innings of 39 not out from Derek Pringle. There were 4 more balls bowled up to the close of play, no runs scored. 220 for 5 was the closing figure for England, and the bowling figures for West Indies, the outstanding performance, that of Malcolm Marshall, 4 for 54. He got them right back in the game after, at lunchtime, England had been right on top. There was support from the other bowlers. The forecast was for showers, some light ones in the morning and heavier in the afternoon. And in fact, the umpires allowed only 1 ball to be bowled before they went off the field, but only a short time was lost. We pick up the action now. The first ball of the second over, 221 for 5. Marshall is bowling from the pavilion end.
And the first glimpse of very hazy sunshine as Marshall just lollops in. Oh my goodness, what a loosener. I don't think I've seen him run in that way, Raymond, and well,
that certainly looked like about 25 overs yesterday ball. He struggled to get to the wicket. The arm was taking Jack Birkinshaw's head off, and the ball was straight for Viv Richards at slip.
that'll be quick.
Downton calling for the quick single there, but as you can see, he was playing off the back foot, which meant he was a little bit slow in getting off, and he really was at full stretch here. I don't think he would probably have been out if the ball had hit the stumps. He'd have been keeping running to the pavilion.
Oh, that's bowled in. Malcolm Marshall's 5th wicket of the innings. That's the 16th time the great man has done it for West Indies. And that's the big strike that Richards wanted.
Malcolm Marshall using the in-swinger again, but he started to go forward, went nowhere with his feet, almost together, and that's been the problem for the England batsmen. If you would have kept going forward into the shot there, even if it hit your leg, you'd have got away with the LBW decision. But well bowled by Malcolm Marshall. He's certainly used this cross breeze to help his in-swing. I've never seen him really bowl the in-swinger quite as much. He's always tended to rely on the outswinger, but in this match he's bowled it very, very well indeed, and that was another superb example.
Yes, it just goes to show what a great bowler can do when conditions are there to be exploited. There it is, bending in. Fairly indeterminate foot movement, but all credit to the bowler. So, the new batsman for England, John Embury. He's averaging over 40 for England in the last 12 months, so his batting and effectiveness has improved no end.
I think that's good thinking by Marshall, because Embury never comes really forward. He just plays across the crease, and if he can get this in-swinger just to straighten up, he's got a good chance of LBW. He's also got a man 3/4 of the way back at square leg, because he will be trying Embury with a bouncer before long, and John Embury does hit the ball up in that area.
Oh, and there's a brilliant catch. Brilliant catch. And there was the other one that was slanted across Embury. What another great double strike by Marshall.
Well, again, that was the point we're just making, that John Embury doesn't get forward. He just plays about 6 in front of the crease. You see, he goes back a little bit first, and really the front foot's gone nowhere, which allows it to catch the outside edge, and really a magnificent take there by Dujon, because the ball wouldn't have carried to reach it at first slip. So he made a lot of ground. He took that right in front of first slip. But again, another superb piece of bowling by Malcolm Marshall.
6 out of these first 7 wickets. No wonder he's friendly with the umpire. 6 for 56 off 26 overs. Marvellous figures.
Yes, and if West Indies could put this English tail off pretty quickly, De Freitas has got a few runs, but he's the only one of De Freitas, Jarvis, Dilly who've made runs this year. Anywhere around about 250, that will be a magnificent performance, considering the start that England got yesterday.
Just see how well Dujon did here to commit himself, because this ball angling across, Embury just tentatively forward, a wide deflection that couldn't have gone to slip. Ambrose to Downton. Oh, threw him in under him.
That was a bit apprehensive, yeah. A real positive stroke played. And really a very lazy shot again, and the ball going between bat and pad and just scraping that off stump.
Take another one here. A little bit of slapdash cricket there by the West Indies. Nobody bothered to back up when Patterson came in and underarmed that at the stumps. It's a comfortable single in the first place.
They'll pick up 4 for that. Only leg buys, but when runs are at such a premium, it doesn't matter how they come, scrambled off the edge or off the pad.
You can see the swing there. And just a little touch of the pad, and that going very fine indeed.
So Curtly Ambrose to bowl to Philip De Freitas.
Much doubt about that one. I'm not absolutely certain how the batsman De Freitas managed to play inside it. All seemed to go past the outside edge. Perhaps the replay will show something different.
Well, that looked a fairly straight delivery. He was just down the wrong line. It just did hold up a little, but a little bit disappointing. De Freitas playing with his feet together.
And Paul Jarvis has come out. A few butterflies around there, I would think, at the moment. First test match on English soil, and this is why he's out there. Before the start of this over, Marshall had 6 for 61, so he's a couple of wickets to go to beat that best bowling performance achieved at Headingley. Been a few seam bowlers do well on that pitch. Well done. Nice way to get off the mark. May not have come completely off the middle of the bat, but it went like a bullet past gully.
Yes, and I think it's refreshing to see somebody swinging the bat that's coming in down the order. He might as well, because Marshall's such a good bowler, he might just as well swing the bat. And that went very, very quickly just behind square on the offside.
And he's going to face Marshall coming around the wicket now. It's well fielded and well backed up by Gus Logie. May not be all that pleased with Desmond Haynes at the moment.
And a very quick single this. Desmond Haynes moving very quickly to his left and having a shy and not missing by much.
Had an escape there. Roars from the crowd there of run from all those in the audience who felt they could have made it back quite easily.
And I think this was almost a caught and bowled. It was. But very difficult to keep your balance when you're running away. I think he almost hit it twice, in fact.
Now, I wonder why Curtly Ambrose has put himself in the position of being spoken to by umpire Bird for bowling successive bounces at tail ender. Have Yorkshire played West Indies so far this summer, Raymond?
No, not yet, but I think Mr. Ambrose might find he has a long way to go down from that 6'9" when young Jarvis has a little bowl at him if he gets the opportunity.
Hold him. That angle coming from very high and rather wideish on the bowling crease has defeated a couple of players today. Ambrose picks up another wicket. Jarvis is gone. And England are 9 down.
Well, that's the length to be born to tail end of batsman. Full length right up there. And the point we're making earlier about Joe Garner bowling a magnificent Yorker from 6'8", 6'9", and Ambrose is a similar size, and I'm sure that he'll probably be over the top of the sight screen at the far end and bowling out of the crowd. And whenever he has pitched the ball right up there, he's caused problems.
I think there's a good indication of how difficult a bowler of that type can be, Ray, in that Jarvis dismissal. If you just keep your eye on Jarvis's bat, he plays pretty well straight. He doesn't hit across it too much, but the ball is coming in on such an angle that even though he plays quite straight, he was hitting it perhaps through mid-on, he's hitting across it almost at 30 to 40 degrees. And life for Graham Dilley with his first ball. The total goes on to 245 for 9.
And if the West Indians do bowl England out for the 250 mark, that's going to be a tremendous performance when you consider the start that England got yesterday morning.
That's well done, Curtly Ambrose. 4 wickets for him. A splendid debut. He gave it the two-fisted salute as well. So he knew exactly what the position was and is highly delighted.
Again, good full-length delivery. Dilly never getting really into line there. That ball pitched about leg stump, and you really shouldn't be getting bowled out by that as a left-handed batsman. There should be something in the way, and I suppose that's the reason that Graham Dilly's at number 11 in the batting order.
A terrific performance by the West Indies bowlers there. England all out for 245, having started the day at 220 for 5. Great performance from Ambrose, but in particular from Malcolm Marshall. None of the England batsmen able to come to terms with them today, or indeed in the latter part of yesterday. Downton 16 not out, and Marshall 6 for 69. Ambrose 4 for 53 from 26 overs and 10 maidens in his first Test match on English soil. We pick up play now in the West Indies innings. It's the second over. De Freitas is coming into Haynes, and no runs are on the board.
Well, no second thoughts about that. First ball that Desmond Haynes faced, a long hop, got just what it deserved.
Not a bad sort of shot for someone that's looked on as a solid player. Short outside the off stump, and Desmond Haynes getting right on top of that. See how he rolled his wrists over the top of it as he hit it, keeping it right down. Marvellous stroke.
Heavy rain delayed play after lunch, and the umpires eventually, after several inspections, got things underway again at 4:15. Here's Dilly now, bowling to Greenwich. It's the 13th over of the innings. West Indies 23 for no wicket.
Oh, and there's a really dismissive shot. Great shot.
We've talked about Derek Pringle and the possibility that he might not have a bowl. He's now joining the attack at the Ratcliffe Road end.
Oh, that was a nasty one. Really well played. Just took the bottom hand off the bat in time, but you heard a nasty crunch of ball on knuckle.
This is one of the things that if you're right behind the line of the ball, you do play it, and you play it down. And you saw Desmond Haynes' head was right behind the line of the ball there, and although it bounced and lifted, he still pushed it down. Very, very well played indeed. Nasty delivery.
Oh, that was a nasty ball. Poor Desmond is getting a rough trip. Now that's the second hand, that's the left hand, and he calls immediately for help. He may well have a fracture there. It was a very nasty crack. The ball just leapt up. Not really short.
No, it's a good length. In fact, he was deciding to come forward onto that one. And De Freitas is a little bit quicker than Prindle, so the damage could be more severe. It certainly got high.
Well, that's the shot, but it's superbly played, and down, and through, and four. And 50 for no wicket.
So Paul Jarvis coming on to have a try now at the pavilion end. Oh, and that was a chance straight away. Comfortable chance there at first slip. John Embry, the fielder. That's disappointment for Paul Jarvis. Straight on a length, roundabout off stump. Greenwich just playing defensive shot, and the ball going at a comfortable knee height there. John Embry spilling it. So that's disappointment for Paul Jarvis and disappointment for England.
lunge. Nice work, well bowled by Jarvis. And boy, do you think Embry won't be relieved out there? Wouldn't Greenwich the man out?
Well, that was a similar line. Just bounced a little bit more, but Greenwich not quite getting to his front foot. Just going away a little bit, and a quite comfortable catch there for Paul Downton. So no runs scored since that first miss by John Embry. It could have been a very expensive miss.
Elegant, Desmond. Very elegant.
No, I can't imagine Mike Gatting being too impressed at short leg. You've enough dangers there without flying bats.
That's a great shot. Desmond Haynes really launched himself at that run, just slightly over pitch from Paul Jarvis.
Shot of the match for me. Wide half volley. Desmond Haynes, look at that front foot getting in there.
Embry now to Richardson. A splendid piece of work by the close infielder there. John Embry claims the wicket. That's the sort of fielding that really turns a match. Gatting is the man at short leg.
And he sees Richardson go back, and he's a little bit on the back foot, and he's marvellously anticipated and dived forward there. Superb catch, a little bit of turn there for Embry as well. See Gatting staying down. Absolutely superb catch.
Was for Richardson going off, and now for Vivian Richards coming on. There's Embry to Haynes. Now fielded.
Cracking square drive from Desmond Haynes, and Chris Broad's not the most athletic fielder. A tremendous stop.
The Freitas couldn't quite match it. He got his fingertips to it. That's two fierce blows by Desmond Haynes, the first two balls of this over.
It looks as though if it's in the blood area, Desmond Haynes is going to give it the full treatment.
If that's going to be Desmond Haynes' pattern of play, I'd be very much inclined to give John Embry a long on. Just around about where that one was smashed, that at least would stop Haynes playing stroke. There's Dilly to Richards. Made up for the missed pull shot, that fierce drive, that a little bit of damage to Paul Jarvis's fingers, brought up the 100 as well.
Beautiful off drive, this. Absolutely copybook.
$100 up in 241 balls, second 50 from 103.
hanging about here. Viv Richards sweeping off the stumps.
It's a brilliant stroke. Two of them in this over. One the sweep, and that one a lovely clip away through mid-wicket. 11 from the over, following 9 from the previous over from Embury. And a half century for Desmond Haynes, and a very good one too. Made his 50 out of 115 for 2. We're into the 41st over of the innings. A beautiful stroke. Simply racing across this outfield, dampened by the heavy rain earlier in the day.
Yes, this was only really a forward push. A big heavy bat and a very strong man. But that just looked like a forward defensive shot, and it really raced away to the long on boundary.
I think that was a mistake. Not on Richards' part, but on Dilly's. And Richards flowed on beautifully to be 22 not out at the close of play, 126 for 2, with just 3 more runs added after that boundary. 25 to Greenwich, 17 to Richie Richardson, and Haynes, I thought, played quite delightfully out there this afternoon. Some lovely little touches as well as some bludgeoning blows for his half century. 126 for 2, and the England bowling figures, well, they bowled all right, but I don't think they'll be entirely happy with what happened out there. Dilly 41 from 13 overs, De Freitas 30 from 11. Thought Pringle was the best, 7.1 overs, 5 maidens, none for 4, and Jarvis bowled pretty well also. Embury certainly turned the ball, but the West Indies set out to get after him. This is the situation at the end of the second day. West Indies 126 for 2 after England were bowled out for 245. So the West Indies 119 runs behind. Umpires had to leave the field. Torrential rain with the groundsman having to scurry under the covers, and eventually the umpires decided play could start again at 2 o'clock in very pleasant sunshine. Well, at the start of play, this was the situation. 126 for 2, the West Indies. The match situation, runs added to that overnight total. Derek Pringle is the bowler coming in from the Radcliffe Road end. Taking strike is Vivian Richards.
Seventh four for Vivian Richards, and such an easy one at that. No third man, steers through the gap. Very simple game. Paul Jarvis from the pavilion end to Richards. Oh, dear, dear. As soon as a player of this class sees width, throws the bat at it, 4 runs. High over cover, tremendous bludgeoning blow by Richards. What does a young man do? Derek Pringle from the Ratcliffe Road end. Well, this difficult decision not to have a third man is costing England quite a few runs. It does seem to me if a bowler is bowling outside an off stump or thereabouts, it's just a natural place for the ball to go. Viv Richards steered 2 down there for 4, and Desmond Haynes is in on the act as well.
Yes, I think Mike Gatting probably heard you, so they will now have a third man, and this is absolutely right. England haven't got enough runs to play with. They've got to defend that third man boundary. But Paul Jarvis has gone down there now.
Oh, that's well bowled. Now that's a movement off the seam. Richards committed to the attacking stroke.
As you can see, Viv Richards, he's really going to go after everything. And that one moving back off the seam, a marvellous delivery from Derek Pringle, coming back. And Pringle has done that a couple of times to Richards. And fortunately for him, the great man hasn't got a touch.
Well, isn't it strange that it's always Desmond Haynes who gets the one that pops up towards the glove?
Very good piece of bowling here again, Derek Pringle, making that one bounce and leave Desmond Haynes a little. He takes that bottom hand off. It's been hit a couple of times by Pringle, and I say he's bowled very impressively. There's a big shout there from Paul Jarvis. You can see how Viv Richards gets his pad right across, plays round it. Not a bad shout at all, perhaps just moving off the seam and going down the leg side.
Oh, and well bowled. That's it. The strike that England have wanted. Desmond Haynes, invaluable 60 runs.
Yes, and a really good delivery this from Paul Jarvis, short of a length, bouncing, leaving Desmond Haynes on the front foot. It was a little bit short to push forward to, off the bottom glove, and Paul Downton picking that one up well.
What a fine innings that was. Over 3.5 hours, just the 5 boundaries, but he's anchored the innings and allowed Richards to come in and play as he has done. Generous applause from a large, patient Trent Bridge crowd.
Yes, fine innings by Desmond Haynes. He really is a high-class player, and he seemed to sort out all the nasty deliveries that happened. But a wonderful innings of 60.
Great delivery, and how strange it is that Richards, playing all the shots he has done, doesn't seem to get those sort of deliveries, and Desmond Haynes has. That's the scorecard, 159 for 3. Pringle to Hooper. That's a good shot. Nicely timed, which with the heavy rains we've had. Not 4, but just 3 runs.
Well, certainly Hooper modelled himself on Viv Richards. A lot of Viv Richards in him, and I think the West Indies are quite right in changing their batting order here. Hooper's certainly looked the most promising of the younger players on the tour, and in front of Logie or Duja.
55th over of the West Indies innings. Pringle to Richards. That's the 50. That's his 8th half-century against England. Also got 800s. What an innings he's played. 60 balls, and considering he scored 44 off his first 36, that's how he's changed down a gear once the wicket fell of Haynes. Beautifully bowled.
Almost looked like a touch to start with there. In fact, it was the pad. It looked like a little touch on the bat, but just missing the inside edge there. And onto the good delivery by Jarvis again, just nipping back off the seam.
Jarvis to Hooper. That's a lovely shot. No need to run for that. Hooper's first boundary.
Beautiful shot from Hooper, half volley, just drifting into him a little with the lovely foot movement and straight swing of the bat there. Put right to the pitch of the ball, cracking it straight past the ball. Beautiful stroke.
Movement there from Jarvis, who immediately shortened his length.
Yes, it's just cutting back into Hooper, and Jarvis thinking initially that he'd got a little inside edge onto it, but off the pad.
And again, same ball, same stroke, and same result.
He really is a very good player, this young man. Lovely stroke. Very, very high class.
Change in the bowling now. John Embury is to come on at the pavilion end. It's 189 for 3. Man out today, Desmond Haynes. Embury will bowl to Viv Richards. Beautiful stroke. First ball off Embury. Richards, when Embury came on yesterday evening, took to him straight away, and there's the first ball smashed down the ground.
He really gives us a tremendous thrash, and it's only 2 or 3 yards to the left of Alan Lamb, and he can't really get anywhere near it.
More to Richards, lovely delicate touch there. This is Embury to Hooper. Oh, beautiful stroke. Good use of the feet.
Well, he's really just making a nonsense of the game. He's down the wicket, getting the full toss, and just picks his spot. Doesn't even need to hit it. He just pushes it beautifully through extra cover.
And over extra cover this time. Beautifully timed. Taking his cue from the master, who is now on his way down the pitch to have a little quiet word with him. But John Embury, 5 overs, no maiden, 1 for 41 now, with 16 runs coming from that last over, and not all of them from Viv Richards. Carl Hooper played his part there as well, although Richards certainly started it off. So the West Indians on the attack, and brilliantly so.
Beautiful stroke. Really, John Embury just hasn't got his line right at all, and anything the least bit loose, Richards rocking back there and hitting that like a rocket square.
Ball does tend to stick to your fingers a fraction when something like this is batting against you. A lovely stroke, and that is a fitting way for Richards to go past 66 and therefore past Greg Chappell in the list of all-time run getters in Test match history.
Absolutely magnificent stroke from Richards there. I don't think John Embury quite knows where to bowl the ball at the moment. Once again, a poor delivery. He's only got 3 men on the offside, and he really can't afford to bowl out there. Anything wide outside that off stump, Richards is really hammering away. Beautiful stroke.
Yeah, he's taken West Indies to within 28 of England, by having started late here at Trent Bridge today. Mr. Freitas. Played that pretty well, actually. Got up sharply.
Yes, absolutely marvellous. See where his head is right behind the line of that ball. And although it took off from a length and bounced at him, he is right behind it and played it down.
Very dark over there. We only just got play started this morning, and the heavens opened. Started again at 2 o'clock. Oh, it's about the 4th tier, I think, of the stand away on the right. It's just out of our view, but I know it went a long way over the rope.
And a tremendous hit, this. That feet, lovely high swing of the bat, and that almost goes out of the ground. Enormous power.
Good shot. I'm assuming it came off a thin edge, a bottom edge. It was nicely played.
Yes, the great thing about this is that Hooper didn't try and hit it. He just paddled it round, swept on length and not line. That was off the stumps, but he was so well balanced when he played the shot that there was never any danger.
De Freitas to Richards. And that's out. Fine catch. Richards threw the bat at the start of the innings and then settled down to play much more subdued fashion. Thought one was there for the drive. He's paid the penalty. Great innings.
Yes, this is a fine catch because Richards really went after it. Full drive and the ball going at the awkward height there to Gooch. It's one of those where you can put your hands either way, head high. Not the easiest to see in these bad backgrounds, and that went very, very quick indeed. A very fine catch there by Gooch.
There we are, just 98 balls, 6 and 12 fours. 9 of those coming in his first 50, since when he's set his stall out to play a big innings. England will certainly be pleased for that breakthrough.
See how Richards really gave it the full flow of the bat here. And that going very quick indeed. Makes you wonder now whether Richards were very pleased about taking that break for the light when he was in full flow.
New batsman Gus Logie. He was on the card to come in front of Carl Hooper, but how well Hooper's played to justify his promotion. Logie not been in great form on this tour so far. High score of 38. Just 105 runs in 3 innings. Well, it was in the air, but that's Logie off the mark. Certainly not afraid to go for his shots.
Now on this particular wicket you've got to play the shots to the bad ball. That was short. In actual fact hit it down into the ground and past cover point, so there was no real danger. But certainly it's well on the short side there and a fine stroke.
There's a bad ball, and that got what it deserved.
And defence again very short and wide, and Logie very quickly onto that. I'm not sure that defence has done the right thing by altering this approach to wicket. He's gone a lot wider, whether he's trying to alter his delivery or not, but he's had problems with no balls, and now he's having problems with pitching short, which one thing that defence usually has got is very accurate, but he's not been that since tea.
No, 14 off that over. And that takes West Indies into the lead. England's 245 came off 101 overs, and West Indies, they've got there in 69. Pringle to Logie. Well, he had to reach for it, but he found it. Dilly on the chase, but the ball just running away down that slope. 4 runs.
Yes, Logie going for his strokes now. Didn't get his feet to this, really. A long way from his body, but kept his balance pretty well. That was the important thing. Head down, lovely balance, even though the bat was a long way from the leg, and pretty good stroke there, another 4 runs.
Yeah, one of the bowlers whom I have the feeling Gatting's been shielding from the big hitters, Graham Dilly, is now coming back into the attack. Dilly to date has bowled 13 overs, 0 for 41. Wickets there taken by De Freitas, Jarvis 2 and Embury 1. So it's be Dilly to try his luck again from the Ratcliffe Road end. Gus Logie, the batsman, 258 for 4. gone fine. And much too fast for Derek Pringle to cut off down there at fine leg. Well fielded, Philip de Freitas.
Cooper there, who's playing so well. And this little chip into the mid-wicket area. A little uppish, but Philip de Freitas, who has fielded very, very well indeed, having a shy at the stumps. I think Cooper was quite safely back.
Well, that's a sight we've seen so many times. It's so frustrating and disappointing for the spectators, the Saturday crowd, almost always afflicted with bad weather and rain. Gus Logie, the little man to the left, seemed uncertain at first, looked towards the dressing room. Obviously got reeled in by the skipper. And why, indeed, should they bat in deteriorating light when a strong position has been built up, and there's every chance now of West Indies building up a winning situation.
So there is, but I'm afraid play was washed out for the day with heavy showers scudding across the ground. The covers were put on, the umpires made an inspection, but then the rain became even heavier, and West Indies finished at that figure 264 for 4. Hooper, an excellent 47 not out, looks a very good young player. Gus Logie came in and crashed the ball everywhere, 18 not out, and the highlight, Vivian Richards, 80, with Desmond Haynes also playing very well for his half-century. The bowling figures for England: Dilley none for 47 and de Freitas 1 for 58. I'm not too sure what de Freitas was doing after he came out and bowled with that circular run. It may have been a problem with the run-ups or the foothole. Jarvis 2 for 52, didn't bowl badly, even though those figures on the surface don't look all that crash hot. Pringle 18 overs for 38 was steady, and I thought bowled pretty well all the way through. And John Embury was harshly dealt with by Vivian Richards, 7 overs, no maiden, 1 for 62. And that leaves West Indies with Monday and at 264 for 4 against England 245. Complete over from Saturday evening. Here's the last of those three. Gus Logie is taking strike, and there's no addition to the score.
Could have been out.
It's very close to that again. A little bit of good fortune for Gus Logie at the start of the day.
Hooper taking guard for his first ball of the day from Graham Dilley. Oh, and a lovely shot, and that'll be his 50. Just beautifully timed. It's 4 runs. The outfield's quicker, but the shot was sweetly timed.
What a good player this young man is.
Pringle to Logie. Oh, that's well bowled and out. Graham Gooch again. So we've seen in the first 15 minutes of the morning that the devil that's been in the pitch on the odd spot, although there's no marks there, he's still there.
Yes, and after a couple of indifferent ones, that a very good delivery. Watch that bounce. See how high it got. And Logie almost off the shoulder of the bat. Graham Gooch having a little juggle with it, but fortunately went up.
One of the most cultured looking of wicketkeeper batsmen in world cricket. So 271 for 5, the lead 26.
Carl Hooper has strike now. Dilley from the Radcliffe Road end. It's well bowled. Hooper got away with it, and he's got 4 for it as well. But he was certainly deceived in the flight. It was Dilly's slower ball. There's a pat on the back there from Dujon, but it was nicely bowled.
Yes, definitely fooled there. That went head high through the covers. A little bit of good fortune there for Hooper.
Here's Dilly, and he's bowling to Dujon. Beautifully placed. Jarvis is the man at third man.
A beautiful stroke by Dujon here. Nice on the back foot across. Quite a straight bat, and the ball going pretty hard away, square on the offside.
That was very well bowled. He's had a good morning, Graham Dilly, without success, I'm afraid, but he's bowled well.
Yes, that was unlucky. Fine delivery, just outside the off stump, leaving, bouncing, but no reward.
Like a chance from this angle. Just need to see on the replay if it actually carried. It also looked as though the fielder, Graham Gooch, might have not sighted it as it left the edge of the bat.
Yes, super delivery this. Leaving Hooper off the pitch, playing it, and it looks as though it might have just carried to Graham Gooch. 50-50. Very, very difficult chance anyhow. He was standing up a little bit straight there.
Dujon's picked that slow ball pretty well. Last 50 have taken 126 balls. That's a good indication of just how accurate this England attack have been. Very good effort from them this morning.
It's interesting to see that Mike Gatting's keeping Dilly on. A couple of overs ago, he just signalled one more, but he's keeping him going now.
And that's why, indeed, Tom, you're spot on. He's hit a rhythm and a line and a length this morning, his best of the innings.
A beautiful delivery, that one a little bit straighter, if anything, and very, very close to Hooper's edge. Really has been a superb performance by the English quickies this morning.
And that's out. Well, Graham Dilly's earned his wicket, even if he got it in a fairly unusual way, but that's one more wicket that England wanted.
Yes, really speaking, it wasn't a great delivery by any means, but Dujon getting back there to smash it, and in fact, it sort of lollipopped. He's trying to pull it, and if anything, he gets there a little bit early, and he just slices it back to Graham Dilly. It's a remarkable dismissal, but very, very useful wicket for Dilly, and he really has deserved it.
Malcolm Marshall, the new batsman, so what can he do for this West Indies score? Oh, my word. Well, that's the game. You get a simple caught and bowled off a miss-hit, and then you bowl a ball that's worth a wicket and get nothing. Dilly having finished his stint. And this morning, well, 11.3 overs, no maidens, 1 for 34, and he was worth better than that. De Freitas to replace him. Oh, that's 4 runs. Now a new ball now being taken. Only 10 overs after, 11 overs after it was due.
334 for 6, same number of runs as Brabham made in one day. Done by De Freitas. Carl Hooper goes just after the luncheon interval on 84. Just another 16 needed for his 100, and dismissed by an excellent delivery from Philip De Freitas. It's now 335 for 7.
Well, I think it's very nearly unplayable, this one. Bounce left him. He's in a good position there, but it lifted, just clipped the glove, and Paul Downton takes that in front of first slip.
De Freitas to Ambrose. That was very careless indeed, because it was the over that allowed Ambrose to take the single so he would retain the strike. But the overthrow rebounding off the stumps meant that Marshall could get back, and now he'll be able to face Dilly. The problem with the ball was tossed over to umpire Birkinshaw by Jarvis. Now Jack Birkinshaw is going across the word with Harold Bird. He's out of shape. Going to be knocked back into shape by the next ball that's bowled. All those things will be going through the umpire's minds at the moment. As though by magic one comes out of the pocket.
Good delivery this, swinging. There's quite a lot of swing there. Malcolm Marshall not really getting very close to that.
Well, full marks to Paul Jarvis, who was the one who took the ball across the umpire and managed to get out of his pocket one that will actually move in the air. Fast bowler likes to receive that sort of treatment. It's not so much the smash past point, it's the advancing down the pitch that is so annoying.
I suppose that's one place not to bowl, when somebody's just advancing down the pitch just short of a length. It's the sort of thing they're looking for. They're in a position sideways on, and they just hit it away through the covers.
It looks as though Marshall's decided that he's going to give it a bit of a dash out there. Gooch is the fielder at second slip.
Well clear of him. You have a feeling here that really John Embry ought to be bowling to Ambrose. I think he could probably get him out. Marshall would obviously have a dart at him, and Gatting would have to have 3 or 4 men out to Embry if he did it.
Well, Marshall now, he's giving it the whole treatment. Timed his charge perfectly, made himself a bit of room.
Well, again, De Freitas dropping it onto that just short of a length on the off stump, and on both occasions Marshall's really clobbered him on the offside.
De Freitas to Ambrose.
And there's 4 more.
Well, Curtly Ambrose doesn't have a big back lift. He's certainly got a good follow through, and when you're 6'8" and you swing the bat, that's what happens. And that's 4 more runs.
John Embry, of course, who bore the brunt when Richards and Hooper got after him on Saturday. Well, now England certainly want to slow the run rate down, and of course they want to wind up this innings.
And then a little bit of air, perhaps, just a little bit of flight for Curtly Ambrose. Lamb is out at deep cover, and it's well run by Marshall. Ambrose takes 2 or 3 strides to get down to the other end. 50 partnership up, only 91 balls taken, and most valuable for West Indies. Just fingertips. Great effort by David Gower. It's the same story earlier in the day with Graham Gooch diving to his left and not able to cling onto one slip.
Ambrose just flipping this off his legs. Up in the air, and David Gower diving to his left, just missing it.
Insult to injury or the other way around. It's a very big hit by Marshall. Dilly, how tall is he? About 12 feet short. Half century for Marshall, nice way to bring it up.
Magnificent stroke, coming inside and slogging that high over Graham Dilly at long off. Tremendous hit.
Change in the bowling. Derek Pringle comes on at the pavilion end. There's only about 4 or 5 yards at this pavilion end, but it's still clear that it whistled past the ears of 1 or 2 of the photographers.
See all those, it just cleared them, and could really have done a lot of damage there.
14 off that over. 15 off the previous one from John Embury, so run rate just rocketing. Tea still nearly 25 minutes away, so if they're still in occupation, that happy man will probably have over 200 runs to play with and decide what he wants to do.
Yeah, I don't think he's listening to us, Jack.
And that's bowled in. Malcolm Marshall looking disappointed, but he needn't be. A lovely innings, a vital one, 72 runs. And he's pressed the accelerator just at the right time for the West Indies.
Probably Malcolm had a little bit too much room, and was probably just struggling to reach it at the finish. Marvellous attacking innings, though. In fact, the ball did go underneath the bat. And that's really given the West Indies a great chance of winning this match.
Yes, he led the way in a stand of 91 for that 8th wicket. Big round of applause, and rightly so. You see just what he had in mind. Made Had all the room he wanted. But off balance, making too much in fact. And that's the result. Well, that's different. In the air, De Freitas. Oh, and he's dropped it.
Well, one of the best fielders in the England side, Philip De Freitas. It isn't often he drops them, but he got there and then seemed to stop just that yard too quickly, and in fact was barely under the ball at the finish.
Well, that's a big hit. First one that Ambrose has really got hold of.
That was a massive hit, and there was some thought that there might have been a declaration come at tee. It didn't. Richard must have had it in mind, but he sent the batsman out again. Ambrose was out shortly after, and then they did declare. He was out to a brilliant piece of fielding by Graham Gooch. I think for a moment Ambrose had decided there wasn't a single in it. Gooch decided there wasn't. They both started, and then Gooch moved in quickly and threw down the stumps. 43 to Ambrose. The declaration came at 448 for 9. A terrific effort from the West Indies, and Marshall the star of things, although don't discard Curtly Ambrose there. That's his highest test match score, and I thought he played very well and with splendid temperament. The bowling figures for England, the best of those today I thought was Derek Pringle, 34 overs, 11 maidens, 1 for 82. And it's true that the England bowlers had no luck this morning. Dilley was unlucky, but finished with 1 for 101. 2 wickets to De Freitas, 2 to Jarvis, and 2 to Embury. So when the declaration came, this was the situation. West Indies 203 runs ahead. We join play now in the England innings. It's Patrick Patterson coming in from the Radcliffe Road end. He's going to bowl to Graham Gooch, and 3 runs are on the board. Tucked that away nicely, and the timing was good. The field is still not desperately fast out there, just quick enough that it will run into the rope after Marshall has tried to stop it with his foot.
And this is Malcolm Marshall. Oh, that is a beautiful ball. Nothing at all that Graham Gooch could do about that, and if he'd heard the tinkle of wickets, he'd not have been at all surprised. Alongside me, admiring his Railingworth.
Well, you don't want 6 of those and over, that's for certain. You know, perfect length, line, movement out off the seam. No real answer to that. Not one of the best shots there by Graham Gooch. A little bit wide and just hanging the bat out there.
And a change of bowling at the pavilion end. Curtly Ambrose. So England have fought off Malcolm Marshall's first spell. 4 overs, 2 maidens, 0 for 3. Not exactly hit anywhere, but to keep him out is the main thing at this stage. Not where Chris Broad intended, but it's gone at a fair pace away there, back out of square. The cheers will tell you that it eventually got to the rope, and Chris Broad has 4 runs. Oh, dear, dear. Well played, Chris Broad. They were very well bowled, too. Just that extra thing. It's as if you bowl and it hits a trampoline. Well, I don't think I've given up all hope. Tom, have you?
No, we're not quite as far down as that, I guess.
Patterson now to Broad. It's a good shot. Racing away there. Outfield appreciably quicker than in the first 3 days. Courtney Walsh now coming on to replace Patrick Patterson. Oh, and that's 4 runs. Quite safe. Almost played there. He was looking to play it squarer, but there was something of the uppercut in the shot. Oh, that's out. It's well bowled. Nicely taken by Dujon. Just pitching in the right place to draw Broad into the push.
Yes. Chris Broad caught Dujon, bowled Ambrose for 16. Battled for 80 minutes. And I think you'll see that this slanting across him went quite wide in the end. Just getting a little outside edge on it.
Yes, an unsettling over. He banged in 2 bounces, and then the one that didn't get up, that one which did, and also left him.
And in fact, Chris Broad had both feet off the ground then when he was playing that.
Courtney Walsh now to bowl to Gatting. Oh, that was very close.
Yes, in fact, it was so close it took Jeff Dujon by surprise. I think you'll see this will go over almost the corner of the off stump. My goodness me, he just got his pad outside the off stump, although the fact that he wasn't playing a shot really didn't mean there was any protection for him there.
Viv Richards has brought back Malcolm Marshall. $50 up and Gooch goes to half that number.
Well, I think the tide's coming again. It's, Walsh is really getting the ball to move around. An absolute pearler, went like a leg break and kept on going.
No third man, so they'll get 4 for that. It's been an interesting day for Malcolm Marshall. He came out and blasted England's bowlers, making a brilliant 72. He's now bowling very, very fast. Coming around the wicket to Gooch. He's been giving umpire Harold Bird a lot of long, hard looks. And he's also been chipped by umpire Bird and officially warned for running too close to the line of the stumps. A very interesting day for Marshall, and a hard-fought top of the innings effort there from England, 67 for 1 at the close of play. It was tough going. They stuck it out, Broad the man out, caught Dujon, bowled Ambrose, and Gooch and Gatting there on 38 and 8 respectively. The West Indian bowlers, they all bowl well, Marshall with plenty of fire, and Curtly Ambrose again was very impressive, 8 overs, 3 maidens, 1 for 13. Patterson and Walsh bowled well, Walsh cutting the ball and moving it in the air when he came in from the Radcliffe Road end. England behind Ambrose from the Radcliffe Road end, and Patrick Patterson from the Pavilion end. 4 runs have been added when we joined play, and it's Patrick Patterson coming in the 4th over to bowl to Graham Gooch.
Graham Gooch not completely happy with the pitch this morning. It's a 5th-day wicket and 6 days of the weekend, so there's bound to be a little bit of movement. That would have come to a misleg stump.
That's nicely timed. That'll settle Graham Gooch down nicely.
Well, there's one thing about these quicker bowlers. If you can just turn the ball with the roll of the wrist and use the pace of the ball, it certainly goes away pretty quickly, and that's what happened there. Right up to Gooch, it's a turn of the wrist, lovely timed shot, and away to square leg for 4.
Dujon somehow got across there to between first and second slip. Looked to me as though that probably came off the cue end of the bat. Gatting was through with the stroke much too early.
Yeah, banged in very short, halfway down. I'm not sure it was quite short enough to pull, and that was going to the right hand of first slip.
Ambrose to Gooch on 49. Oh, what a good delivery. And well played, and that shows the value of keeping your eye on the ball.
Yes, that's exactly right. The summing up there. Graham Gooch watching that go by and just waving his head to one side. Very, very well played indeed. Nasty bouncer. And as soon as it got high, he dropped his hands and just swayed out of the way.
And there's his 50. And although he's played more attractive ones, I don't think any more valuable than that one.
Fine innings by Graham Gooch. He's looked very, very solid. Got right behind everything, and a tremendous effort.
First bowling change, and Courtney Walsh. Walsh to Gatting. Very nicely taken, because that ball did quite a lot.
It did a lot after it went by Gatting. It's quite close. And what's that swing now? My goodness me. Did well to get across there.
And with 5 minutes to go to the hour, we're in the 12th over of the morning. What do you think? Looks all right to me. Yes, give it them back. That's a good shot. 4 runs. Gucci's second 4 of the day, and a rare half volley. There's runs. Graham Gooch now suddenly sliding into top gear. It's away there for 4 runs.
Yes, 2 fine shots this over. Once again slanting down, rolling the wrists, hitting that through mid-wicket for 4.
And that's the 100 coming up of 265 balls. So England on 102 for 1, still 101 runs behind. Patterson to Gooch.
And 4 more. No one will know at the end of the day exactly how that came to get between second and third slip, and Gooch won't care very much.
No, that shouldn't really happen. Somebody should be getting a hand to that.
It's just missing leg stump, I should think. Came back a long, long way.
Yes, Walsh getting the ball to move about more off the pitch than probably anybody. And that went late in there and kept on going. Well, probably just a missed leg stump there.
Marshall is also fielding at slip and wearing 2 sweaters. Looks very much like an injury to me. Rib injury. Very sensibly, the West Indies didn't let anyone know that he might have been injured. They just went ahead and used Ambrose and Patterson this morning. The 4 for Mike Gatting. Kept that down very well.
In fact, there is a danger of playing this stroke because that bit of extra bounce from these big West Indian fast bowlers, and that got quite high. Mike Gatting playing that pretty well, getting right on top of it and knocking it down.
And Malcolm Marshall comes on. And never take him too lightly. He's just running up, rolling over his arm, and somehow or other he's slipped it through the defence of the England captain.
I think Mike Gatting might have been a little bit casual here. I don't know. No, in fact, it wasn't a bad delivery. It pitched and just left him off the pitch, so I was being a little bit unfair there to Mike Gatting. Perfect length, and in fact, it just pitched about off stump and then hit off stump, so really it wasn't a bad delivery. Not quite so satisfying from the England point of view.
Just did enough to go past the outside edge. 116 for 2. The new batsman is David Gower.
Well, edgy.
Yes, David Gower rather playing on the walk here. Not really getting very positively out on that front foot and getting a thick inside edge.
And now Marshall going over the wicket, so ready to try anything to unsettle the batsman. Oh, it's a handsome shot. Really was. Just picked off his toes. Real vintage Gower boundary. That takes England on to 130 for 2. Walsh to Gooch. That's a lovely shot. Really, Gooch, the longer he bats, the better he looks.
Yes, Jack, and he's looked fairly good right from the word go, but this is a cracking stroke. Roll of the wrists, 4 runs from the moment left to bat, just in front of square.
2 more runs added to take the lunchtime score along to 139 for 2, and Gooch had played quite beautifully for his 77. Gower was on 10. Soon after the restart, Malcolm Marshall left the field, and Freddie took no further part in the day's play. We'll pick it up now in the 6th over after lunch. Richards is bowling to Gooch. It's 155 for 2.
Yes, beautifully played. See the ball gathering speed there. Those big bats that they use these days, and of course Graham Gooch so strong in the forearm.
Yes, gentle outswing, but it's going most of the way from Viv Richards, but Gooch playing that a little bit on the up, and if it had just gone a little bit more, there's always a chance of that ball going to the slips. Because that's what Viv Richards is after, just trying to get a wicket somehow before he brings back his main quickers.
This is Curtly Ambrose to David Gower. Oh, yes. Very interesting to see Curtly Ambrose trying to change the angle, getting to the edge of the crease, and Gower reading it straight away.
Yes, there's nothing wrong with the shot this time. That was very short, and that allowed him plenty of time to play the stroke. And again, he got properly onto his back foot rather than being stuck with his feet together. You see there, he got well onto the back foot, weight on the back foot, and really clipped that down behind square.
Curtly Ambrose to Gooch. Well, that's well bowled. Gooch this time not quite in line, but there was a little bit of movement there as well.
Yes, I think Graham Gooch expected that to come into him. In fact, it left him off the pitch quite a bit. A very, very good delivery indeed.
That's a good shot. 4 runs. That's his 11th 4, taking him within 3 of 100.
And over behind that, clipping that just behind square. Super shot. With an upright bat, which is so important on a pitch where the ball varies in bounce.
It's flicked away, just the single. Well, that could have gone anywhere. 3 slips in the gully and he found the gap. 4 runs.
A little bit of luck there for David Gower, and it was noticeable after he played the shot. He gave his leg a whack with the bat. He hit his pad. He was very annoyed with himself playing that fast-footed shot, and it really could have gone anywhere.
Carl Hooper to Gooch. .99. I'm sure that when Gooch gets back on strike, we shall see Viv Richards trying to apply a little bit of pressure and trying to seal all the holes that he can. Well, there's 3 batsmen who could still bat today. Pringle, Downton and Embury, looking at Gooch on 99. Oh my word, and nearly so near. Great delivery.
What a good delivery again. Leg break. Moving away from Gooch. Very, very good delivery indeed. Been an awful lot of playing and missing in this match.
So Ambrose to Gooch on 99. And there it is. Nice single away to mid-wicket. Great innings for England. Gooch's 8th Test 100. 4th against the West Indies. And his first one here at Trent Bridge.
Very, very fine innings indeed for Graham Gooch and for England. I just had a feeling that if he'd happened to get out early this morning, that England could have been in quite a lot of trouble, but he's played absolutely superbly today.
Well, there's one man who's probably seen most of it before. Hooper to Gooch.
And the more runs they make, the better. Little gifts of that kind would hardly be more appreciated.
Yes, I think even if you come in for the first ball of your innings, that would have been a gift. Certainly when you've got 100 against your name, and it's more than a gift.
Patterson to Gower.
.203 for 2, so England have caught up now. 245 in their first innings, plus 203, gives them 448. Same as West Indies when they closed. Now Viv Richards is to bowl from the Ratcliffe Road end. I assume from the way they're shuffling their field around that he's going to bowl spin this time. That's a good shot by Gower. Gone past Richie Richardson's right hand and a half century for David Gower. A welcome half century for David Gower. It's his second first-class 50 this season. Now then, that's the end of the 91st over. It's also the end of play up to tea on this last day. Very, very good session for England, 34 overs bowled. So the over rate jumped up to 17 per hour with the introduction of the spinners. 102 runs came from those 34 overs and no wickets. David Gower is 55 not out and Graham Gooch 128. That's a splendid partnership, good fighting cricket.
There's the reserve umpire, Jack Hampshire. Box of balls at the ready, but they've only just taken a new one. Walsh it is to David Gower. Oh my word, and that's straight back inside, straight through for 4 runs and a chance off the very first ball after tea.
Yes, well, they've had 2 or 3 opportunities today of the West Indies to break through and they've not taken them. Pretty good delivery, and it's an inside edge, which is always going to be very difficult. Dujon just got far enough across, just underneath his hand.
Lovely athletic run of Courtney Walsh. Oh, and a good delivery, but also well played. Just as Gooch kept his eye on it earlier on in the day, that's the way to play it.
Yes, Gower kept on watching this. It was banged in short, just in his own half. But he kept his eye on the ball and avoided it quite easily. That's what they used to do in the old days before helmets. Now some tend to stick their head in the way.
Well, clumsy bit of footwork there. Kane's just back on the field and a couple of runs. Brings up to 250. Prosperous days for England, and the last 50 have come off 108 deliveries. Well, that's just 4 runs, nobody moved. Just sat up and begged.
Well, that's the first time we've seen any of the England batsmen take the bouncer on. Gooch, who got hit on the face at Lord's, trying to have a dart at the bouncer. Still hooking from this side of the ball, having to fetch it a long way. And if it had bounced a bit higher, he could well have got in trouble.
Patrick Patterson to David Gower. He can get hold of it. Had he done so, who knows? Sloppy bit of cricket because it was a fairly badly timed shot, misfielding and badly called by the 2 England batsmen. Only 1 run from it. Glorious shot. Just lets the ball come onto him, Gooch. That's when you know he's in form.
Yes, there was a time when Gooch was falling too far over last year, and he stood up beautifully for that. See that, the head never fell over there, and that was why he timed it so well. Nice and straight up, and just off the toes, and no falling over at all there.
Walsh to Gooch. Well, a short arm jab there, and that's 4 runs. Didn't seem to be any power in it at all. Almost a reflex shot.
Yes, I think that probably Gooch didn't pick this up. It was a pretty high full toss, waist high, and I think it was just really a jab at it as he saw it halfway down. I mean, quite a lot of those bowls, people are trying to bowl Yorkers and get them quite a bit high.
Well, he's a great shot and well fielded.
And in fact, that was a chance. Gooch driving it pretty hard, not too high, a couple of feet off the deck. Fielder there just got both hands to it, but it came out. It would have been a marvellous catch.
That's Gower at his best. Beautifully timed shot. Footwork safe and sure enough. The blade opening at impact. Well, as a bowler, wouldn't feel happy if that went past mid-on, but it's you yourself, it's different, following through on the wrong foot.
And this has been the tale for the West Indies all day. The ball's either just squirted out of reach or somebody's dropped it, and nearly every batsman's had one or two of those sort of escapes. And if they were going to win the West Indies, then most of these things had to go to hand.
Oh, and that's out. Well, finally, Gooch, a fairly tired shot, and why not? He's batted for nearly 7 hours, the end of a marvellous innings, and one that's gone, I say most of the way, probably all the way towards securing England a draw.
Yes, it didn't look a bad delivery, actually, Jack. This one coming down and just bouncing and leaving Graham Gooch a bit. It makes him look as though he hasn't got behind it, but it was a good delivery. And Gooch not waiting for any umpire's signal. He's on his way straight.
A standing ovation from the members' pavilion. Stand for that third wicket of 161. The new batsman Alan Lamb, hardly to be envied. Off the mark straight away, that'll make him feel better.
Yes, little smile on the face, feeling better now. A couple of runs under his belt and away from the dreaded pair.
It certainly was a relief for Alan Lamb, but he struggled all the way through to the close of play for his 6 not out. David Gower within 12 of 100, and they called it off at 5:30, which they're quite entitled to under the playing conditions. 301 for 3 with Gooch 146. A great innings from Graham Gooch to follow on his splendid batting in the first innings, and a bit of excitement at the end of the day with Curtly Ambrose bowling to David Gower. 2 bounces, one of which hit him on the helmet, and the helmet almost fell on the stumps, and then straight after that a very big appeal for LBW. Curtly Ambrose, 23 overs, 4 maidens, 1 for 56. Could have had better figures than that. Marshall 1 for 23. A sad moment for the West Indies when he had to leave the field. He was certainly missed out there today. A wicket to Patrick Patterson. And Courtney Walsh bowled pretty well, although he gained no result. The 2 spinners, Richards and Hooper, couldn't get through at all.